everybody, and welcome back. The 22nd day of January, quickly winding down, and we're winding up possibly a forecast that will still have a bit of winter to it for your weekend. A lot of eyes on that very topic this evening. Are we going to see any snow, to the delight or dismay of a whole lot of folks? A surface low just off the Texas coast is expected to slowly but eventually make its way eastward across the northern Gulf of Mexico before lifting towards the eastern seaboard late this week. We are right now set to possibly get a glancing blow from all of that. Strong southerly flow ahead of the low is going to pull an abundance of Gulf moisture northward and fuel widespread precipitation across the deep south on Friday. As it stands right now, we've got rain in the forecast for tomorrow, possibly changing into some snow late tomorrow night, and another little hit of a wintry mix before your weekend, I think, is done, and I'll outline that more as we've got a little better idea as to what we can expect to see over the course of your weekend. And it's still not a certainty by any stretch of the imagination, as is never the forecast. Well, several of our reports this evening will center around our elected or legislative leaders on various different levels. We'll get to that, and also a report that I mentioned last night in regards to two charged with animal cruelty in Johnson County. As I have started off the past three programs, I guess it is, including last night's, I do so again with apologies for issues with the Foothills feed that so many folks have been graciously keeping me up to date on. And they did isolate the problem last night about, I don't know, a few minutes into the program, and we sat down today and believe that they have that taken care of. And we're still, of course, making a big change over that. We'll, a little further down the road, a few weeks away, make all those issues we believe obsolete, and then really change our atmosphere around the newsroom and how you see the program. But for now, we think that problem is fixed. I so want to thank Foothills for taking care of the situation, and they wish to, as I do, extend our apologies for the past several nights. And some nights, even though the 11 o'clock show was a repeat of the 7, it would show, and the 7 wouldn't. It really is. When you get into those types of materials and equipment, sometimes it's just a bit of an unknown and a wait and see or hunt and peck type of situation. But they did isolate the issue last night, and we believe that we're back on tonight. All fingers are crossed. We do wish to thank them for their support, as well as with you, and for your patience. Tonight's headlines, including everything that I've just mentioned, also include an update on Kentucky's highway fatalities. Figures, preliminary at the time, have been released for 2014, where highway fatalities in Kentucky did go up last year after we saw a record low the year before in 2013. The Kentucky Office of Highway Safety preliminary data says that 667 people lost their lives on Kentucky's roads last year. That's an increase of 638 for 2013. However, it was the second lowest total since 1949, when 573 fatalities were recorded across the roads in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Mike Hancock, Transportation Secretary, who is also the governor's designated representative for highway safety, said that saving lives and reducing serious injuries as well is a top priority of the administration. He also says that the governor's executive committee on highway safety is committed to providing direction on traffic safety issues as we move toward zero deaths, which is their goal on Kentucky's roads. Their goal also is to work cooperatively to update and implement Kentucky's strategic highway safety plan toward zero deaths. Now, there were 81 days, consecutive days last year where no one lost a loved one on Kentucky roads. Now, that is an increase. In 2013, there was a time frame of 75 consecutive days where no lives were lost. And last year, they did see 81 days consecutive in a row where no one died as a result of an automobile accident or any type of an accident on one of Kentucky's roads, and that is certainly a good sign. Stay with us. I'll pick up right after the break with an animal cruelty case, this one coming out of Johnson County. Stay tuned. As I briefly referred to on last night's program, the Johnson County Sheriff's Department says that their animal protection officer, identified as David Pridemore, along with Deputy Chris Blair, responded to a complaint of animal cruelty on Dry Branch. That's in the Oil Springs area. Subsequently, they also removed several animals from the home and then charged 2 individuals. The deputy forwarded me the following photographs that they took at the scene on the day of the seizure. Upon investigation, they say all the animals in question appear to be in poor health. This is a horse that they had on the property. After they spoke to the animal owners, they advised that Well, the animals, they told authorities, just got out of hand, and they had more than they could care for. A total of 8 dogs and 1 horse were voluntarily surrendered by the owner to the Johnson County Sheriff's Department. The horse and the dogs are being cared for by Dumas Rescue and the Kentucky Humane Society. 43-year-old Curtis Fraley of Dry Branch and 45-year-old Lucinda Fraley of Dry Branch, husband and wife, were charged altogether with 8 counts of animal cruelty. The sheriff is using this case to serve as a reminder that they encourage everyone to report animal neglect and cruelty. Callers do not have to leave your name. The case currently remains under investigation by Deputy David Pridemore, Deputy Chris Blair, and the Johnson County Sheriff's Department, and is one of similar reports that we have had of this nature. Animal cruelty can happen on a variety of different fronts. Sometimes it's intentional or neglect. In this case, while it also was criminal, they say that, as the animal owners said, that it was just a case of simply them not being able to provide for the animals. Animal cruelty, nevertheless, but it is a case that could have been avoided, says authorities. While it's questionable to see how it's going to sit with his supporters, Senator Brandon Smith is seeking to have his DUI case dismissed. He's not claiming innocence, but rather that there's a law or rule on the books that says he shouldn't have been charged in the first place. Senator Brandon Smith, Republican from Hazard, who serves much of the viewing area in his capacity as senator, was arrested and charged with driving under the influence. It happened earlier this month, actually on the very first day of the legislative session in Frankfort. Kentucky State Police say that they stopped him initially for speeding and then smelled alcohol on his breath or on his person during the traffic stop. He failed field sobriety tests, however refused to submit to chemical analysis of his blood. He is today saying or citing a rule, not necessarily a law, but more referred to as a rule more than a century old, on Kentucky's books that says he is privileged from arrest in the state of Kentucky. It actually says that, quote, members of the General Assembly shall, in all cases except treason, felony, breach of surety of the peace, be privileged from arrest during their attendance on the sessions of their respective houses, and in going to and returning from the same. And for any speech or debate in either house, they shall not be questioned in any other place. Citing this rule that's been in the book since 1891 at least, he says that he should not have been charged. He was privileged from arrest and is therefore requesting that his case be dismissed. The judge in the case agreed to consider the motion and delayed the arraignment hearing after Smith's attorney filed a motion to have those charges thrown out. A reminder I meant to throw in at the start of the program when I was discussing the technical issues that we've been experiencing on Foothills for the past few nights. A reminder, yournewstoday.com, still in the making, but still where you can get daily programming. Daily programming uploaded usually the following day and is current with the last several days of programming on yournewstoday.com. You can go and at any time watch it from wherever you are and get caught up to date on all the happenings covered by Your News Today. Real, honest, local news since 1998. So in the event of any other technical difficulties or anything of that nature, or the fact that you just might not be around the tube, well, you can catch Your News Today on yournewstoday.com. In addition to, of course, Foothills Channel 40, Howard's Channel 7, and as well YouTube, where we continue to post our daily news broadcast. Now going on over to tonight's Montgomery County Farm Bureau-sponsored community calendar announcements. One announcement this evening. That's an oddity, but an important one. It's a reminder, the Elk Creek Free Will Baptist Church has a revival going on nightly at 7 p.m. It started Wednesday and will continue to go nightly for the foreseeable future. Come and join them, they say, at the Elk Creek Free Will Baptist Church for revival, nightly at 7 o'clock. And that gives me a moment to remind you, as I always try to do, of the many ways you can get your birthdays, anniversaries, and announcements on the show. Mail, phone, fax, email, Facebook, or drop them off here at the Your News Today studio on East Maple Street just above the Sagersville Post Office. And if I'm not here, which more often than not, I'm not, you can always leave it in the brass box on the front door. For tonight's funeral service listings, services are going to be held tomorrow morning at 11 in honor of 65-year-old Christine Allen of Sagersville, survived by Sister Loretta Stewart. Service is set for tomorrow morning at 11 from the Magoffin County Funeral Home Chapel. Visitation is the rest of this evening and until services in the morning. In lieu of flowers, you can make contributions to the Christine Allen Memorial Fund. And 66-year-old Carteret Castle will be laid to rest Saturday beginning at noon with services. From Gunlock, he survived by brother Danny Castle, sisters Haley Shepard, Helen King, Hazel Bradley, and Maisie Harris. A memorial service is set for Saturday at noon at the Magoffin County Funeral Home. Military rites will be given by the Sayersville chapter of the DAV the day of services, and in lieu of flowers, please make contributions to the Sayersville DAV chapter. That's chapter 15 of the DAV. And 92-year-old Shelby Howard of Lick Creek Road passed away on Wednesday. He survived by his wife Kathleen Boland Howard and sons Ellis and Wallace Howard and daughter Geraldine Gamble. Visitation starts after 6 o'clock tomorrow for the public all day Saturday and then until services. Once again, they start Sunday at 1, all of which from the Magoffin County Funeral Home. Burial will follow afterwards at the Buffalo Cemetery at the head of Buffalo in Magoffin County. And now for an update on former Morgan County Judge Executive Tim Conley, who, through his attorneys, say he is opposed to more prison time. Not surprisingly. He says that he should not be facing more prison time. As I told you, federal prosecutors are requesting after his actions after pleading guilty to his part in a kickback scheme that netted him more than $100,000 over the course of several years. While federal prosecutors in the case argue before the judge that Conley deserves more of a sentence than was called for under advisory sentencing guidelines, basically an equation based on his crimes, number of crimes, and a whole lot of other factors that came out to a little more than 7 years in prison, they are requesting instead about an 11-year prison sentence based on the fact of not just his kickback scheme, the amount of times he was guilty of doing so and pled guilty to, but also the fact that he continued to hold his office and not resign, that he also ran for re-election and refused to take his name off the ballot. Now, on one occasion, or on one of those fronts, his attorneys have since argued that he was unable to take his name off the ballot due to the deadline already passing, but let's be honest, he had already filed to run for re-election knowing the situation surrounding him. Whether or not he had pled guilty to his crimes or not, he had still realized them. Nevertheless, Conley's motion says that he will instead seek a sentence below the minimum of 5 years and 10 months that's calculated under those guidelines in that specific equation. His sentencing initially set for, I believe, the 6th day of January, just a few days ago, has since, after federal prosecutors requested the up-sentencing, been set and is still set for the 27th. That will be next Tuesday. Now for a little statewide news that certainly draws us all in. Almost simultaneously today, I learned of the passing of a former senator and Kentucky governor, as well as another candidate for the governor of Kentucky in the upcoming May primary. Beginning with the now expanded list of those who want to be Kentucky's governor, State Agriculture Commissioner and Republican James Comer officially filed to run for governor of Kentucky earlier today. This officially kicks off his campaign, which has unofficially been going now since around September. He's been raising money since September. His running mate for lieutenant governor, Senator Chris McDaniel, called Comer a leader that has the belief that we can make Kentucky better for all Kentuckians. As for Comer, he says that with our help, we will win this primary in May, he says. Then we will win the general election in November. Then we will take the oath of office on the steps of the Capitol in December. And this time next year, he says, Chris and he will present a bold agenda to members of the General Assembly that will change the state forever in one legislative session. And he's also pointing to the fence, or at least to the outfield, by saying on record that he will get more than 50% of the Republican vote in the May primary. Now, Comer is now officially the second Republican on the ballot. Former State Supreme Court Justice Will T. Scott has already filed for governor, as I've already mentioned. Another name that is expected to be on the ballot is former Louisville Metro Councilman Hal Heiner, who says he's going to run but has not filed. Attorney General Jack Conway and former congressional candidate Jeff Young are the only Democrats to have filed thus far. Candidates have until just next Tuesday at 4 o'clock to file for the candidacy of governor, and then by next May or leading up to it, things will certainly start to heat up. And for a former Kentucky governor that's being referred to today as a Democratic icon, a political icon, a patriarch of the Democratic Party and Politico in the state of Kentucky, Wendell Ford has died at the age of 90 after a long bout with cancer. He served for 24 years in the United States Senate, was Kentucky's governor from 1971 through 74. He was the first Kentuckian in history to be elected lieutenant governor, and then U.S. senator. He retired in 1999, but has stayed very active and involved in Democrat politics. He is stumped on the campaign trail for a variety of individuals, young and old. He was the longest-serving senator in Kentucky's history at the time he retired. Mitch McConnell has since dubbed that title. He served a total of 4 terms in the U.S. Senate. He was a Senate Democratic whip from 1991 until he retired in 99. And in putting the lid on this program tonight, well, we close and wrap it up with your forecast, powered by Licking Valley RECC. We picked up 20 degrees today, started at 22, peaked at 42. We'll fall back to 27 tonight, mostly cloudy, calm winds, nothing exciting in your forecast. But what about this surface low off the Texas coast that's making its way across the northern Gulf of Mexico, bringing a lot of moisture with it? Well, it is going to give us a threat for some snowfall. Snow accumulation, maybe not. We're talking about an inch or less if you're watching this from your home or on TV. Yep, an inch or less is where we're at right now. We haven't had an inch of snow as of yet, so it will be the biggest snowfall to date, but we might even see less than that. Here's how your Friday is shaping up. Rain likely, mainly after 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Mostly cloudy, start to finish. We'll see rain and snow becoming all snow after 1 a.m. So rain to start. Snow after 1 a.m. and new accumulations of less than an inch possible. Now that goes into your Saturday, where we've got a 40% chance of some snow lingering, maybe another little hit of it up until about 10 or 11. Then it should taper off, become mostly sunny by Saturday afternoon. Temperatures right around the 43-degree mark. We're above freezing throughout a lot of this. The ground temperatures have picked up, so it's not going to be a big weather maker. It wouldn't take much, though, to make it the biggest one of the winter season. Sunday, we get back close to 50 with a slight chance of snow before 9, and this clipper is going to bring us some rain and snow chances throughout the morning and early afternoon hours, and then a good chance of some rain as we get above freezing. Mostly cloudy skies, a really good shot of some precipitation Sunday, a 60% shot. Rain is likely into your Sunday night, and I think temperatures will stay above freezing, so it shouldn't be that much of an issue. Temperatures start to take a hit, though, on Monday, 37, 20 degrees for your high, for your low, cloudy skies, and still another chance of precipitation, and it could go either way depending on what time of day and what the temperature is, 37 and 20. Tuesday, we start to dry up after several days of some chances of rain and or snow or something in between, but we're still cold and still around freezing at 34. Temperatures fall back to below that 20-degree mark, but they do it under relatively clear and calm conditions. Mostly sunny, partly cloudy late on your Tuesday. Temperatures around 37 on your Wednesday of next week, and that is as far as my forecast goes and as far as I have time for this evening. Again, thank you all for being a part of the program, and for those of you who have voiced your frustration for the last several nights, we still continue to apologize, but we're working on it. Always, constantly working to make it better. And a reminder that you can catch programming of Your News Today on yournewstoday.com, in addition to Foothills Channel 40 and Howard's Cable Channel 7. For now, we thank you so much for watching and being a part of the show, and I'll see you back here tomorrow night to wrap up this week at Your News Today.